Okay.
Hey everyone, this is Pepper and Crystal with Blogging Tidbits, and today we're going to be talking about our top blogging tools. And so definitely make sure that you have a pen and paper because you will want to write some of these things down. We have so many tools for you today. So I am Pepper from pepperscraps.com, and Crystal, do you want to introduce yourself today?
Hello, I'm Crystal from Tidbits of Experience, and I am glad to be here.
Okay, so we had a few questions and then we have like this huge list of different things. But if you have more questions, feel free and ask them down below. And to start, the first question we had was, what is our top tool? And so I'm going to say that my absolute top tool is my phone. I do everything with my phone. I take my photos. When I pick out a phone, I make sure that it's going to have really good photos. Especially, I live in Oregon. It's very dark here, so it has to take really good low light photos. And so I test out tons of phones to make sure the photos are going to be awesome. But I also do my social media on it. I do like events, videoing, so many things with it. And so that would be my top tool. How about you, Crystal?
My top tool is definitely my desktop. I have a laptop and I use it, and I have a smartphone, but I hardly ever use my smartphone. When I get off the computer, I'm done with blogging. It's all about my kids and family then. But that's basically my top tool.
Yeah, I would say that, it's funny because we actually work differently. I do a lot of stuff on my phone, but you don't, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So you can see bloggers all do everything different. So that's one reason we're going to share lots of tools with you is because even between us, we use different tools for everything. So let's see here. Where do you want to start, Crystal?
Well, we got plugins listed first, so that makes our lives a lot easier in my book.
Yes. So we have lots of plugins. And one of my biggest tips for plugins, though, is to try and limit your plugins as much as possible. Usually, if something goes wrong with your blog, it is a plugin that's gone bad. And so my top tip for when you're working on your blog and something goes wrong, turn off all your plugins and see if it fixes it. If it fixes it, that means that there's somewhere in there a plugin that's bad. Well, if you have like 50 plugins, it's going to be a really fun job to try and figure out that one rogue plugin. I know Crystal's all like, oh, I might have that. But
yeah.
Do as we say, not as we do, right?
But once I learn the coding, or I can afford to have my designer fix the coding, I am going to do that because I have to agree that more plugins do slow you down.
Yeah, they can slow you down, and then if something goes wrong, and they can open up you to hacking. Sometimes what happens is that plugin stops being taken care of, and there may have been a security problem with it, and then you have a security hole in your site because of that plugin. But these are some of the top plugins that we have. So Akismet is the one that I use for spam. I know there's a lot of other ones out there, but I've used it for probably as long as it's been around. Do you use Akismet?
Yeah, and Akismet is actually the most popular one that is suggested by even every top blogger I've ever known or met. I haven't really seen any other ones that are recommended near as much as that one, and it works wonders.
Yeah. And then I have Click to Tweet. That's actually one of my new favorite ones. I'm really enjoying that. And I know somebody mentioned that it really annoyed them to have Click to Tweet. I would use that sparingly in your posts, but I did find that I had a couple posts that people loved sharing that tweet instead of sharing the post itself, but it still shared the post. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it shares the post, but it also it gets the top message of your post out there, so therefore they're going to reel people in really well with that.
Yeah. And what I use like a fun quote when I do that. I try to make it kind of interesting and fun. So, and I find that I use those on other people's blogs when they're really fun and interesting.
You can't help but use them. That's why.
Yeah. Future Calendar is one that Crystal and both of I use. It's actually a really, really simple plugin. I've used it for years and years. Future Calendar, basically all it does is it adds a calendar right above your publish box so that you can see where you have posts published. And you can see, you know, do I already have a post published for Wednesday? You know, or you can click it and it'll put that date into your published spot. So if you want to schedule a post out. So I really like that one. Frizzly was one that we had, and that's actually a new one, right? I think
it's fairly new, yeah.
Yeah, we used to use the JavaScript pin it button, but something went wrong with it. So then we started using Frizzly, which is the one that it's a sharing tool, and it does Pinterest, Facebook, and Twitter right on your image. And you can actually tell it where you want that little button to be. And I really like it because I am huge about how my Pinterest shows up, and it does it really well. So, and the other one that I use is Simple Share Buttons Adder. So that's the one that adds the buttons above and below my posts. And I didn't, do you use that one, Crystal? Which one do you use?
Yes, Simple to Share.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I seriously took a month testing all the share buttons out there because, like I said, I'm very particular about how I want my Pinterest to be shared. And I'll tell you, actually, it was not sharing it the way I wanted, and I tweeted out to the guy on Christmas Eve saying, hey, your button isn't working, and he tweeted back to me, he's like, after Christmas, I'll take a look at it. And he fixed it for me. So that's an awesome thing about some plugins is if they have a really awesome developer, if there's a problem with it, you can tweet them or message them, and they will take care of it for you. And I like that I can customize how those buttons look. I like all the buttons that are available, and it even has a new button called Yum for Yumly, which is great for recipes. So let's see. And my last one that I added was duplicate post. I do series a lot of times. Like I had a menu planning series. I have roundups that I do. So I have posts that look basically the same. They have all the same layout. But to make it easier for myself, I use a plugin called Duplicate Post. I click a button. It duplicates my old post into a new post, and I just add the new content. So it has all the layout for me, ready for me. All I have to do is just put the new stuff in it. So, and I think the rest of the list is yours, Crystal, right?
Yes, it is.
I feel like I've like been talking.
Okay, delete revision. That is a plugin that I use to get rid of all of the different copies and drafts that I have on my post, which cuts down on my bandwidth that I have on my server. Comment love, of course, is very popular. We were doing searches on our blogs the other day in our tribe meeting. And one of the things that I noticed during those searches is that every post that I used and did a comment on that had comment loved included in their blogs, it showed up in the search. So literally you're getting extra search traffic by using comment love on your blog for the other bloggers as well. So they're getting added benefits to that. BAW manual related post. This is where I use to select the posts that are related to the blogs that I'm writing about that you see up underneath my blog post. That way I can go in and I can select which ones I want to highlight from my blog. It's not automatically done for me if I choose to use it. But if I choose to use the automatic portion of this, it's actually available too. So you have both of them. Word fence security. There's a big debate. Many people like it, many people hate it. I was suggested by my host to use it, so that's why I use it. Prior to that, I never used it. But Pepper has heard horror stories about using it. So be very cautious with that one, okay? But I have a very, 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 very good hosting company that provides awesome service. Mom Webs, I can't say it enough. RSS featured image. For those of you who use MailChimp and like me, this allows you to set up your RSS featured image to go out with your RSS feed that you use with MailChimp. That way you don't have to worry about settings or coding. Quick AdSense, it allows me to manage my ads all across my blog, both on my sidebar and underneath my post, within my post, of various different sections. And I can put in coding for up to 10 ads for that. And it's very, very helpful. WordPress editorial calendar, we both use that one, don't we, Pepper?
Yes, I love that one.
That's a way of keeping track of what posts you're writing, when you're writing them, and how, and give you some idea. Fanciest author box, that's where you see at the bottom of my post, there's an author box that has different tabs on it for Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and current posts that I've done. You can change it up according to how you want, and it changes up according to authors. The only reason I don't use it on my sidebar too is because my husband writes on my blog, my mother-in-law writes on my blog, and my son writes on my blog. So therefore, they're all separate author boxes. And my husband's like, oh, I don't want you to be the only one featured. And I don't blame him, because he writes just as much as I do. So that's the only reason why I don't use it on the sidebar, because if I did, it would be a great author box on the side. All right, Pepper, the next thing we were discussing is themes, which is your big baby.
Okay, so I have worked with WordPress since before WordPress was actually WordPress. They actually were a different company and they switched over. So I have seen themes change and grow and become completely different things. So what's interesting is Crystal's on Genesis, and a lot of bloggers love Genesis. I hate Genesis. I am not a big fan of them, mainly because the way I explain a theme to a lot of people is it's kind of like having a car. You have WordPress as your engine, and then your theme is like your body of your car. Well, Genesis is actually kind of a step in between. There's actually it's a middleman. And I feel like I want full control of everything. And if you want full control with Genesis, you have to know a lot of coding, and you have to spend probably a couple months just learning Genesis, because they have their own special coding system. I know Crystal was mentioning that the other day. They have, what do they call those tags? The hooks?
Yeah, simple hooks, which since the update, I've lost that simple hooks benefit, which hurt me a lot. But
yeah, and so if you want to really learn a system and you want to go with Genesis, you want to take time to learn it. And I honestly want full control, so I use other theme places. And I do a lot of research because I do this for clients. And my favorite right now is mythemeshop.com. I really love their themes right now. I used to use Woo Themes, but what happened was their customer service went down the tank like crazy. So customer service is really important to me. Also, responsive design. Responsive design is incredibly important right now with Google's new update for mobile friendly. You want to make sure that your design is responsive. And all of my theme shop's themes are responsive. And basically that means that it'll show up on a tablet, a phone, and a desktop, any size, and it will look nice. And their stuff does look nice, and it looks branded. You can always add a plugin to make your site mobile friendly, but I don't believe in that, because I believe in branding, and you want your whole theme to be responsive so that it all looks the same.
Now, to add to what Pepper's saying about my theme shops, I've used them before. I used to change my theme 100 times every couple months. You'd see a different theme on my blog. But I wanted to get that branding sense with my blog, so that's one of the reasons why I hired a professional designer. But my theme shops are very easy themes to set up. They don't require a whole lot of coding knowledge and stuff like that. But if you want the extra features like Pepper has on her site to make it even more professional, then yes, you need to hire a designer like Pepper to do it. But you can get a really nice blog with my theme shops themes for basics.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing about themes, is that you have to kind of remember, so that's kind of actually that's the body of your car, but branding and logo and color, that's all the paint job. And so you can hire a designer to do that. But you can't paint your car to make it look like an SUV. You just can't. So you want to make sure that that base theme really looks nice and has the basic layout that you want. And I will say that's the one thing I like about my theme shop is I don't have to have some of those plugins that Crystal mentioned because it's built in. Like the author box is built in, the related posts is built in. They have some really awesome widgets and stuff that are all built in. My ads are built in. So that's another thing when you're looking at themes, see what they're also building into that theme because you may be surprised.
Well, actually, I have a built-in author box with my theme too, but I choose Fanciest because it allows me to add those other added features too. But I could take that out and still have an author box.
Yeah, a lot of them do. And that is true. You can add those plugins to overwrite what is in your theme if it doesn't fit what you need. So,
okay.
So,
we did get a question about Comment Love, Pepper.
Oh, okay.
Switching to Comment Love, won't it delete all of my previous comments I've had on my blog? Currently, I have discussed, and it makes me happy and allows for basic info, name, website, etc. without sign-in. But I do like Comment Love. I just worry about losing my previous comments on my blog. If I remember correctly, I've changed mine before too. I have not lost any of my comments on my blog. It just switched over to Comment Love. Am I correct on that, Pepper? Do I remember correct?
I've never used their actual commenting system. I would have to look into that. I'm not really sure. So they actually have their own commenting system?
She's using Discuss, and then she's wanting to change from it to Comment Love. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm almost 90% positive that you won't lose your comments. It will just switch over to the different comment system because the comments are a part of your blog now because they're already there.
Yeah, you would have to look at the specific plugin that you used originally, Discuss, and see, but most of them do just put it into your comment thing. If you go into the backside of your WordPress and look at comments, if they're back there, then it's in your databases. So right. You should be fine. So, and then where are we going next? We're going to browsers.
Browser tools.
Browser tools. So I use Chrome. And I have Firefox as a backup, and you said the same thing. I hate IE. Right. I refuse to have IE.
It's going away completely, so we don't have to worry about it much longer.
So I have Chrome. I also have used a Chromebook in the past, so I use a lot of the Chrome extensions, and they have so many new ones that I'm just like, I could probably spend a whole month in there just looking at all the fun stuff they have. Let's see which ones were we talking about before? Colorzilla.
Yes.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. We've used Colorzilla a couple of times in our videos that we created for you in the group. But as you see, it helps with creating stuff. And as Pepper will discuss more, Colorzilla actually helps you with your image and graphic design.
Yeah. I like Colorzilla for my graphic design stuff. I totally forget about using it for blogging though, because I also have a lot of other tools that are like Adobe and stuff. So, but if you don't have Adobe and stuff, that is an awesome tool. Let's see, Buffer, which I know some of our viewers just got onto Buffer.
Yes.
So, and do you use Buffer very much, Crystal?
Actually, no, I don't. Not as much as I used to. I have used it, but it's not one of my favorites.
Yeah, and I use it off and on. I like having their extension because it adds the button to everything. So if I see a tweet and I know that I've already tweeted a ton, I just add it to my buffer so that way that it spreads out my social media, like what I'm doing on social media, instead of having it all. Basically, instead of having it all like between 1 hour, I can spread it out through the day for myself. And then also one of the things that I liked about it was that I can post to groups. And I actually am considering paying for the upgrade on Buffer to try out the Pinterest because I'm really curious about that. So if I do that, I'll probably let you guys know about it and tell you guys what I think about it.
Well, I have the upgraded version and I'm still playing with it, but I'm not overly excited yet. But another one that you can do, you can get the Hootsuite extension as well and do the same exact thing.
That's true.
If you use Hootsuite.
And I recommend trying some of these tools and see what works best for you, because it's going to work differently for them. Hootsuite, I actually have a conflict somewhere, so like I can't post to groups, even though they say that I should be able to. I can't. So,
right.
And so you will find that some things work for you and some things don't, but they'll work for your friend. So just try lots of things, and that's one of the reasons that I'm really hoping that you guys are trying all the different editorial calendars this week that we're suggesting, because you may be surprised what works for you. So, where are we?
Alexa toolbar.
Yeah, you should talk about that one. I'm so bad about it.
The Alexa toolbar is great for decreasing your Alexa score. And on very, very few campaigns has it actually ever mattered what my Alexa score is. But there are some campaigns that your Alexa score makes a big difference and can increase your payment as far as what you're offered. And I still do not understand why, but it does. Session Buddy is yours.
Session Buddy, you had one that was similar though. What was it? One tab?
One tab, yes.
Yeah. So that basically is a tool. The way mine works, Session Buddy, is basically you tell it to save a set of tabs. Now this is great, like if you have to shut down your computer for some reason and you're in the middle of working on something, which I do that a lot. Or sometimes what I do is if I'm working on a specific client's thing, or if I'm working on a specific blog post and I need certain windows open, what I do is I save all those windows so that if I need to come back to it, I have all those windows. So imagine if you're working on a blog post and you need to have Pinterest open, you need to have a article that you're referencing open, and you need to have your keyword pool that you're using open. And imagine that you use that every single time that you blog. You can save that session and then have it available with a click. So when you open up your browser, you click it and it opens up the tabs that you need. So that's a really good way to have a really good workspace on your browser.
Okay, Lisa asked what was an Alexa score. Alexa score is a score that ranks your website based on the United States versus the world. And if your Alexa score is lower, then you're ranking higher. If your Alexa score is higher, then you're lower down on the totem pole, basically. And your Alexa score changes by day to day to day, even by the hour. So it's not, to me, it's not an accurate judge.
Oh, I didn't even know that. You know, that's the thing. It's kind of like a page rank, right?
Right.
It's just a
different
page
rank doesn't change by day or by hour. It changes when Google does their big honcho searches throughout the webs.
And there's been rumors from the big honchos at Google that will not get updated again.
Right.
So be aware. And honestly, that is one way that I can tell if a PR person doesn't know what they're doing is when they ask for PageRank.
Right, because PageRank has been obsolete for almost 6 months now.
Yeah, and because that's actually, I've actually worked for a PR agency where I was out going and finding bloggers for them, and they asked for that. And I'll tell you right now that the person that was asking for that was an old ad agency guy. So if they really know their things, they know that PageRank, it's not going to be a real rank of your blog. So numbers are kind of hard because a lot of PR agencies will ask you for them. But what you have to remember is that your influence, which cannot be ranked, is the biggest and best thing. And if you remember that, then you should be able to pitch yourself to anybody.
Yeah, because you're unique.
Yes,
your unique voice, your unique connections, who you're connecting with, and all that makes a difference.
Yeah, so don't get stuck with all those numbers, but just keep working on them because they will ask you for them. So what do we have next? PicMonkey and Awesome Screenshot. So I was talking about Awesome Screenshot, and then Crystal showed me PicMonkey. And I was like, that is so awesome. I might have to switch. So Awesome Shot for me is a tool that I use almost all the time, and you may even have seen me use it because what I do is it takes a screenshot of my browser window, and then I can crop it, I can add notes, I can add arrows, and I can do all this kind of stuff, and then I can share it. And that is really awesome, especially if you're working with a designer or somebody else and you're having troubles communicating what's going on. So, and then Crystal showed me that PicMonkey does it, but even better.
Does the same thing. It's just allows you to use PicMonkey.
I think what I liked about PicMonkey a little bit better was that you can share it right away. Awesome Shop has just changed it recently, and you have to log into their system to share it.
Okay.
So
now we're talking about social media tools. Well, we've talked about Hootsuite and Buffer already a little bit. Most of you know what Hootsuite and Buffer is because they're already out there and well mentioned. But if you have a question about Hootsuite or Buffer, please ask it now. Tick tock, tick tock.
Oh, and there are so many tools for social media, and it is really hard to find the right one for you because it's all personal.
Yeah. The next one is Viral Tag. We don't mention Viral Tag a whole lot because it is a paid for service, and it's only for Pinterest. But they have the option of different plans that you have available to you to choose out. Tailwind is a very well-loved program, and by many people, myself included. And it is a $15. They start out at $15 a month for scheduling pins and stuff like that, and it gives you a complete rundown. I do have a video tour of Tailwind if you ever want to see it. And Board Booster is also another program that will help you increase your Pinterest traffic and scheduling out of pins. And it starts out at $5 a month, right?
Actually, they have a free version that's like 100 pins for the month or something.
Right. And then it goes up to $5 a month.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that bugs me about them, though, is that they're not really clear about payment and things on their stuff because it's not very clear if you have 100 for a month or 100 in total trying it out. It looks like with my account, I have 100 for a month. So that's what it looks like to me. Again, and it's very hard to learn, but if you want something free.
Yeah.
Another one that I don't think we have on the list is Ahology.
No, we don't have that one on the list. And they are doing an update right now. They're changing things quite a bit. I got an email the other day about that.
Oh, I didn't get the email. So Ahology is invite only. I would highly recommend go and try and get your invite. They are partnering with Pinterest. So they will be one of the official Pinterest people. And I am in them, and I enjoy them. There's certain things that do bug me, though. So, but I would definitely, that's the one thing I would suggest about some of the tools that come out that are new. I sign up for them. Even if I don't know if I'll ever use them, I get my username. I make sure I get my username on them, and I want to see what it's like and test it out for people. So if you see something new out there, let us know. I'll try it out. But I also recommend signing up for it and testing it out for yourself. Worst case scenario, you never use it, right?
Right.
So.
All right.
And I was lucky. Go ahead.
I was going to say graphic design was next because I thought you were done.
Well, I was just going to say that Ahology is one of those things that, like, everybody was like, oh, go join them. And I was like, okay. So I joined them. And they have not added new bloggers for a while. I've had some people say that they've asked for invites for like 6 months. So definitely, when you see something open up, get those invites. Pinterest was that way.
Yep.
When it first came out. So graphic design. So some people actually ask questions about graphic design. And so we added a whole section about it instead of answering your specific questions. So the first thing is fonts. Somebody asked about pairing fonts. Pairing fonts is like a whole talk, but I'll tell you where I get my fonts. I am very specific because I do graphic design and it is for commercial use. I make sure that all the fonts that I get are for commercial use. And that's very important for me because I do not want to get hit with a cease and desist. Especially for one of my clients, that would not be fun. So I think one of my favorite places to get fonts is fontsquirrel.com. They are awesome because all of their fonts are for commercial use, and you are using it for commercial use if you are making money on your blog, just so you know. So fontsquirrel.com is my favorite. The next one that I like is fontspace.com, but you have to know how to turn off the ones that are not commercial free. There's actually in their settings a way to, when you search, to tell it you want only commercial free fonts. So I almost always use FontSquirrel. I very, very rarely go over to FontSpace just because I have to be careful what fonts I have on my computer for my clients. So, and let's see, what else? Colors. Was colors one of them we were going to talk about?
Yes.
Oh, because we were going to talk about, why don't you share what I shared with you that helped you?
Oh, piculus. I can't even pronounce it. Piculus.
I have no idea. I'll put it in the comments while you talk.
Do you want me to do a screen share of how it works, or just share?
Yeah. Why don't you share how it works? Because I just randomly found it and it worked well for you guys. So.
Okay. Can you see my screen? Yes, you can see my screen. Okay, I'm just going to pick a picture at random, so bear with me. Now watch mine. That's not going to go fast enough for me to do it.
So I just shared the link for you guys in the comments so you can see what it looks like.
And my internet's going too slow for it. There it goes.
Oh, there it goes.
Okay. And see, if I take this picture and I go to Canva or PicMonkey or whatever you want to use, and then I take my Colorzilla, I can just copy it, the color code, and then just plug it in from my fonts.
Yeah, and that's a great way to make your fonts kind of look really well with your pictures.
See, that's a great way of doing it. But I love it. It's really helped enhance my imagery quite a bit because that was one of the big things that was a problem for me.
Yeah, color schemes can be really hard to deal with, and if you don't have an eye for color, there's a lot of great tools like that out there. Another, if you need to have like a whole scheme of colors, there's Design Seeds, Color Lovers, and that's color with a U. You can check out the different color schemes there to use, but I really liked that tool that Crystal just showed you because you can actually take the photo that you're using for your blog post and it will tell you what colors will look good with it. And I think there was even more palettes on the side that you could pick from that they said would work, right?
On the bottom.
Yeah, so if there's, and you basically also want good contrast. So if it shows you all colors that are going to blend in, then you can go down there and find one that's lighter or darker. So, and then speaking of pictures, right? Are we going on to pictures?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So for pictures, I love free stock photos. And one of my favorites right now is pexels.com. And that's PEXELS.com. And there's actually a few of these sites that are coming out. That just happened to be the one that I found first and I love. I have like a blog post that has like 50 of the best places to get free stock photos. And then my other one is freeimages.com. So, and then one that all my tribe mates has been telling me is the one that Crystal will share with you.
Yes, I personally love Dollar Photo Club. I'm sharing some of the top pictures that you can get from there. This is just a marriage topic that I throw in because I cover marriage quite often. But look at the quality of images that I get to choose from.
Yeah,
and there's over 100 pages of pictures to choose from. And that's one of the reasons why I love it, because I don't have to go searching and I don't have to worry about whether or not I can use it because it's available. And you get $10. $10 a month gives you 10 images a month. So basically I'm paying $1 an image. But if I need more than 10 images, I can always pay for more images at $1 a rate. Which, for somebody who's like me, who has issues with making images look great, this is a great resource.
Yes, and because some of those stock places actually are getting very expensive right now. Stock photo, iStock, I think it is really expensive now. So I like that the dollar one is only $1, because also those stock photo places can be random at what different images can cost. So,
Right.
I've also noticed, there was another one that I'll have to look up that I just found. I want to say it's Creative. I have to look it up. CreativeMarket.com is a new one that I found that I'm really liking, and they offer free items every week. So definitely check it out and see what their free items every Monday is, because I've gotten fonts, really cool fonts. I've gotten photos. I've gotten vectors, which I use with Adobe, but that's another cool one that I found recently.
Yes, and I've used that one before, and I get their emails quite often too, and that makes a big difference. There's also, if you check out HubSpot, they gave away almost 100 images today, free, on their newsletter subscriptions. So,
who?
HubSpot.
HubSpot. Oh, okay.
So you start looking for things like this, you get free images quite often. And I also use Image Monthly Service Plan, and that's available at $5 a month, and they give me 35 images. Some are great for just regular images, and then we also have social media images, and then they have images that are designed ready for quotes. And they, in the Image Monthly newsletter, she also gives us a whole bunch of tips and tricks to use for your business, and that's through Solo Smarts, and I will provide an image in the group for that one. I forgot to mention that one. So,
okay. So then, once you get your photos, you need to edit them, and you use PicMonkey. You pay for PicMonkey, right?
Yeah, I have the upgraded version with PicMonkey, and it's only $5 a month, but it is worth the $5 a month because you can do so much more with it. And Canva, I also use. We didn't put that down. And you personally use Photoshop. And my husband has tried to get me to use Photoshop. And we actually have Photoshop, and he's good with Photoshop, but he's never taken the time to teach me. And even if he did, I don't think he'd have the patience to do it.
You should have told me that, because I could create templates for you. Because that's the other thing, is like if you have Photoshop and things like that, you can have templates for your blog posts, which is really fun. Cool. That is the one thing that I miss on PicMonkey, is I wish that they had a way of you saving what you're doing. That's one reason I like Canva. The Canva has its own issues. Every so often I see like their fonts and stuff don't line up the way once they're saved and things like that.
You can save what you're doing on PicMonkey. What are you talking about? You can't save what you're doing on PicMonkey.
You can save what you're doing on PicMonkey?
Yes. Is
that maybe one of the pro parts?
No, it's actually the free part. I'll sign up just to show you.
You have to show me now, because like that's actually, I was talking to one of their big PR people that, wanted me to promote them, and that was my big thing with them, was I was like, well, you can't really like stop what you're doing and save. Here, let's look at her screen.
Okay. See, this is just a graphic image. I'm just playing with it now, but come on, internet, cooperate. For those of you who have cable internet and unlimited internet, enjoy it.
That would be my ultimate tool. Also, is internet, right?
Yes.
We cannot do anything without internet.
Testing. Okay. 1, 2. Because you can actually read it. All right. So say I'm doing that. You can hit save right here and start saving the document there.
Yeah.
Or if you want to make it all into one, you can just do that. Like they're combined. And then uncombine it is doing that.
Oh, see, but see, my thing is what I want is I want them to save the environment.
No, you can't do that.
Because I would love it if you could have like a template that you use over and over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you could have a template. That's what I do with Photoshop. Like here, I'll show you guys how I
You're
use
talking about
Photoshop.
like with Canva, they give you your images that you use over and over and over and over, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Like you can save the environment. So basically, you could just change out the photo and what the words say.
Yeah, that's a good
how
point.
I use that's how I make my graphics for my blog posts is I actually have templates that I use for my different blog posts. And so what I do is I use the same template. So, and that's part of my branding is that I want people to be able to recognize that that's my photo by looking at, I use the same fonts. And I know other people like change all their fonts and change all that stuff, but for me, branding is really important. I don't know why I'm that way. Why am I that way, Crystal?
It's just who you are. There's nothing wrong with that. There's
Yeah.
many big bloggers are that way too, and that's what sets them apart.
Yeah, I want people to see my images and say, oh, that's a pepper scraps photo. And so here, I'll actually show you my screen here. Let me know when you can see it.
It's loading, I think. It's pure black right now. Okay. I thought my internet was running slow today. You still there? Hello, hello, hello. Can you tell I have no patience? And I have 3 kids. Down sample your images. Stacy, I do not know what that means. Tip that I'm realizing now, if you use Photoshop, make sure you downsample your images or you won't be able to pin them. What is downsample your images? Where'd you go, Pepper?
I know, never mind on my screen. I'm having a Google conflict.
Okay. Well, that's not good. Stacy shared a tip while you were gone.
Okay, what's up?
She said, tip that I'm realizing right now, if you use Photoshop, make sure you downsample your images or you won't be able to pin them. And I have no clue what she's talking about. Maybe you do.
Downsample. I recognize the term, but I don't remember what it means.
That's why I was asking her to tell us what it meant in the chat, but I haven't seen it yet.
I'm assuming that it probably means to make sure that it's not as not as high resolution, maybe. So maybe not 300 pixels per inch, but 72. I'm not sure. I have a specific size that I use. Actually, Pinterest, you can actually make pretty large images, and a lot of the big bloggers actually recommend using very big pictures. They actually use pictures that are bigger than what are on their post, and that is because it makes it look higher quality on Pinterest. So I don't know. I would say that's probably the debated issue.
Okay.
I don't use such big images because I pay for my hosting. I don't have unlimited hosting. So if I had really big images, I'd go through all my bandwidth like crazy.
She said, so my camera takes 24 megapixel images, which means that my image is currently over 6,000 pixels wide by whatever long, and that's way too large a file for Pinterest, like maybe 14 meg. Thank you, Stacy, for that info.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, she's saying lower resolution. Yeah, and I would say that you do need to make your images smaller. You need to figure out what is your goal image, and I would say long images. I'm a huge proponent of make your images longer than wide, because on Pinterest they do way better.
Okay.
So
She also added you can go in and change the size. Usually I bring it down to the ideal size by 150 dpi, but I forgot. Okay,
yeah.
that takes care of the photos. Is there anything else you want to add about photos, Pepper?
We'll probably be talking more about photos because we'll be talking about branding a little bit, and I do feel like photos are part of your brand, and I know it's a big question for a lot of people.
Yes. And
so,
we cover that next month, correct?
Yes. Next month we're going to be talking about branding.
Which obviously is one of your favorite topics.
Yes.
Okay, we got asked, I'd love to see physical setups. We saw Pepper's planner, but what else? Ever write posts on paper and pen first? How do you take notes, do research for a post, etc.? Now, I've shared with y'all my Google workbooks with you within the group and given you access to use it, but I don't know if I shared my video of how I use it. So we're going to do a quick screen share of how I use it, and that way you can understand it a little bit better, and maybe it will help you with making out your plans. And to answer your question, yes, I do pen and paper, because I write pen and paper letters every week to at least 3 people every week. So pen and paper is very big for me still. And of course, I'm always constantly, when I have the kids, an inspiration will hit me, and of course I need pen and paper for that too. Or I do a little note on my phone, and that is a time that I use my phone. All right, so I'm going to do a quick screen share. All right, can you see it now? Yeah. All right, here is the workbook, the front screen, and notice that I have my links that I'm going to share for the week, our current giveaways, and it's based on the topics and stuff like that that's going to be shared. Then, of course, we have all the blog hops that we do each week in here. And then if I'm going to do social media shares for threads and stuff like that, I put them in here for the day. And then I can just go in and add them. And then I put down what I'm doing that for. This is links that I have to do for the day. This is things that I've already signed up for and what I have to do by the end of the day. This is my social media questions for the day that I can schedule out, and see I have over 30 days worth, because it's recommended that you do at least 1 question a day. And then of course fill in the blanks are very important. Trivia for the day. And then these are blogging posts. These are ideas of posts that I'm going to write throughout some time or another with the blog. This is the topic idea, and this is where the idea came from. It can come from either a movie or another blog that I wrote, or anything basically. And I can't see my screen because I have this hide the button. Let's see if that does. All right, and then blog love, of course, these are posts that I'm going to put into blogs that I'm writing, and this is how it's going to be used. Then, of course, I have the expected products, products received, expected money, income, expenses, stats. All that's broken down for me. And that's how I use that. And that makes it so everybody can see what I'm doing, including my little VAs that I have. And it makes it a lot easier for managing that stuff. Any questions? Probably not. But any questions? Hello? You're muted, Pepper.
There we go. I said I liked how you said your little VAs, because I like literally little VAs.
Okay, I'm having a hard time staying connected for various reasons. I'm just going to have to watch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Diana. Okay, we have, that takes care of that. Also, my host recommended that you consider using cloudflare.com, and that is a CDN setup. And basically what it does is what did I say it does? It connects to other servers, so it reroutes some of your stuff on your posts and on your blogs. So I no longer have to have a cache plugin, because that takes care of that for me. and that's an added benefit. And it also speeds up my site.
I know, I'm going to have to figure out that one out, because that definitely is probably a more intense tool. You said it was really easy to set up. I'm just curious. I need to look into researching it and figuring out how does it work.
It's very easy to set up, and the host just had to change the name servers from them to Cloudflare, but my host is still my host. It just goes through them first, and then it goes to my host. It's like an added whatever to make it boost.
Huh. So that's interesting. And that helped. Did you explain exactly how that helped you?
It helps where I don't have to have a cache plugin anymore, and it also speed up my site. Speeded up my site. I can't talk today. And now I have an A+ rating on the analyze performance thing. I can show you that real quick.
Yeah,
and then we also
very important is to make sure that your site is going very fast.
Yeah, because you actually literally have 4 seconds to impress somebody. It's not very long. And now I have an A ready. All right, you also mentioned that a tribe is very important. We stressed over that before in some of our Twitter hangouts, Twitter chats. We've talked about it in the group. If you have a tribe, you can bounce ideas off each other. You can work together to promote your product, your blog posts, everything. A tribe makes you so you're not feeling like you're alone. And my husband and my kids are, and even my mother-in-law, they're all involved in my blog, but they don't understand the ins and outs of blogging. They don't understand how it's done or how we got to where we're at or what we have to do that. I mean, the kids do because they help me out. They're like I said, they're my little VAs. But my husband and my mother-in-law, they don't understand that. They can't understand that. And they don't understand how much it changes. Whereas a blog tribe, when you're in trenches together, you're doing it. And that's one of the things is what we want with the group. We like that feeling, but even with the group, it's such a large group and a large amount of members are in there that you don't know everybody. And you don't have that instant contact with everybody all the time. Whereas with our tribe, we have instant contact via Skype, and we can interact with each other all the time. Even with Pepper and I doing this project together, it's even more intense than what my tribe was like, because Pepper and I we're really digging in now.
Yeah.
And I love that. And it's very helpful. You got another question of what tools are worth paying for. That's really a matter of preference. That's a personalized decision. I can't tell you what's worth paying for, because what may be worth it to me may not be worth it to you. Like currently I am back to trying Post Planner because I know that when I used it before, it enhanced my Facebook interaction quite a lot. In fact, it doubled my Facebook interaction. It doubled my Facebook traffic, in which in turn meant more page views for me. So yeah, that's $20 a month, or almost $30 a month, excuse me. But it was worth it because I was getting a lot more in return from it. Viral tag, there are people that swear by it because they're Pinterest lovers and they want to be able to schedule unlimited pins and get that Pinterest traffic and get that Pinterest interaction. I'm not a Pinterest person. I don't think I will ever be a Pinterest person because I like to interact. I like to socialize more than I care about just showing pictures. Buffer is another paid for opportunity. I mean, you can get the free one, but they also have the pro version. It's $10 a month. Let's see here. And I have it right now, which I'm getting ready to cancel it back again. Hootsuite has a pro version. I've had technical issues with them, so I'll never pay for them again. Let's see here. What some other things?
CoSchedule. We didn't talk about CoScheduler.
No, that's another great opportunity. A lot of bloggers love CoSchedule. It's one of those things that a lot of bloggers love, and there's a lot of good reasons behind it. And that's like an eye viewing editorial thing for both your social media and your blog post, but it doesn't cover Pinterest.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Another thing.
And that's the hard thing right now, is that not everyone is covering every aspect that you need. And I think that was one of the questions, is how many tools should you use? Honestly, I mean, it would be great if there was just one tool out there, but there isn't. You're going to use a lot of tools, and you have to try them out. And I think one of the questions about, I know one of the questions was that how many tools you should be using.
Right. Because the question was, how many tools should you realistically have in use at one time? Right now, I have several in use because I'm doing virtual assistant work for like 6 other bloggers and doing my blog too. So for me, I'm involved in all of them. But if you're one blogger and you're only doing one blog, it's based off of what's going to help you the most. You may need 3 resources. You may need 3 things to make it work. Whereas, like right now, I pay for PicMonkey every month because I use PicMonkey and Canva together. Whereas Pepper, she uses Photoshop, and that's all she needs.
Yeah.
So
and I'll say, like, I'm cheap. If I can figure out a free way of doing it, I'd rather do a free way of doing it than pay for it. And so I'm super cheap about buying things. But when it comes down to it, really what you need to do is you need to, like, try out the different systems. And I would recommend having a week or to a month that you try out the different systems. I do this with my software. I just had to redo it for my video editing software. So I'm trying it out. I'm trying it out. I'm trying it out. And then look at it and see, okay, this is the one that I want to use, and then stick with it. Now, if something new comes out, you can try that, but make sure you find that you don't have, like, that's one issue I do run into, is I have 5 different Twitter tools and I don't stick to one, so I'm not as efficient as I should be on it. The way that I would suggest figuring out if you should pay for it is look at, don't forget that you need to take your time and figure out the dollar amount that you should be paid per hour. Because I look at it as those are the hours that I have that are away from my kids. So how much is that worth to me to be paid to up our lifestyle versus, you know, that time I could spend with them. And so I balance out how much I want to be paid per hour. And then take those tools and figure out, okay, if I did this by hand, it would take me 4 hours. If I use this tool, it would only take me 1 hour. So that saves me 3 hours. So is that worth my 3 hours saved there? You know, does that make sense, Crystal?
Yeah, because like I have clients that don't want me using Post Planner for their Facebook interaction. Well, Post Planner, I can just do a few simple clicks and the schedule's done. Whereas scheduling on Facebook takes a little longer. And on top of that, with the Facebook scheduling, I can't physically see what's already scheduled. So it makes it hard for me to do that. Whereas with CoSchedule or even Post Planner, it's available to see me that visual of what's scheduled and when it's scheduled and how it's scheduled. And to me, that's a big.
My internet just froze.
Yeah, you're there. I see you.
Okay. And I would say that's even, I would take that into hiring a VA too. Like if it's going to take a VA an hour and your hourly rate, say your hourly rate is $25. So that's what you've decided how much you should be worth for your time. Then if you can pay a VA $12.50, which I would not recommend paying a VA $12.50, but if you could pay them $12.50, you've just saved yourself $12.50 an hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you would come about figuring out if you should pay a VA to do stuff, Crystal?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean,
that's how I would look at it. Like if I wanted to pay a VA to do my stuff, that's how I would come about figuring out if it would be worth it for me. Because I get paid, okay, I'll just put it out there. I get paid $75 an hour doing my graphic design. If I got so busy with my graphic design I wasn't able to do some of my simple blogging stuff, I'd be happy to pay a VA $25 an hour because I'm making $75 an hour.
Right.
So.
And that's where I look at it too. If I have to pay a VA to do this so that I can focus on writing a $200 blog post, I'm going to do it.
Yes. Oh, you know what? One tool that we did not mention, which we're getting to the end, but I just thought of this. Networks. Would you say networks would be a tool?
Yeah, they are. They really are.
And I know that question comes up a lot, like where do you get sponsored posts? Where do you get, and I would say blogging networks are a great way to start getting sponsored posts. And there are tons of networks, and there's lists of networks that you can join.
Yeah, and you can actually check out some of the networks that I'm a part of just by going to my blog, and at the top it says connections or something like that. I don't remember how Gray worded it, but it's there.
Oh, okay. So you have a list of the ones that you're connected with and stuff. I have like, I actually am connected with a
let me see
whole
what exactly
bunch of networks.
Which it probably won't because I'm getting a call.
I'm connected to a whole bunch of networks, but I don't actually take a lot of the posts because they're not usually worth it for me for my hourly rate. Because I can use if it is under my hourly rate for my graphic design, I leave that time open for my graphic design. So
I'll put the link.
Okay. And so I would say networks are a great tool, especially if you're not comfortable with pitching companies straight one-on-one right away. That's how I would suggest doing it. Is that how you would suggest, Crystal?
Yeah,
like
definitely.
If somebody's not comfortable pitching a company right away?
Definitely.
Okay.
But I personally, I found that when you pitch a company, you actually get better results sometimes.
Yes. What you know what's also nice about being part of a network is you see how much a company is paying.
Yes, that's true.
And I have actually been pitched by 2 different networks for the same product from the same company for 2 different prices. And not even near, like, one was 1/5 of the other one, price-wise. And so that lets you know what a company is willing to pay for a blog post. So it's another tool to use for knowing how much you should charge too.
Okay. We ran out of time. I don't see any more questions.
So this is Blogging Tidbits. And if you want to check us out, you can go to bloggingtidbits.com. You can actually ask for an invitation when we do open up membership again. And I am Pepper from Pepper Scraps.
And I'm Crystal from Tidbits of Experience. It was nice chatting with everybody again.
Yes, bye.